Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to your English lesson today, where we are going to be learning about complex sentences. What is a complex sentence is our main question. So, what is a main clause, first of all? Well, a main clause, or a simple sentence, is a group of words that expresses one complete thought. Every main clause must contain a subject and a verb. They can also be called independent clauses. So, can you spot the subjects and the verbs in these main or these independent clauses? Horse and Mr. Richardson, they're the subjects, and galloped and ate are the verbs. So, what is a complex sentence? And well, a complex sentence is made up of a main clause and then one or more dependent clauses. Now, there are two ways of creating dependent clauses. By using a subordinating conjunction, like after, to create a subordinate clause. So the horse galloped after it jumped the fence. Or we can add extra information using a relative clause. Mr. Richardson, who was feeling ravenous, ate some cheese. Now, it's important to notice that these are effectively, subordinate clauses, subordinate phrases. They're not strong enough to be on their own here, okay? But they add extra information. Now then, let's first look at subordinating conjunctions. So, I saw a wabub. Now, that is an acronym, like fanboys for coordinating conjunctions. This is an acronym for subordinating conjunctions. And it gives us the first letter of some of the most important subordinating conjunctions. Now, there are more than this, but these are some of the most important ones. I, if, saw, since, as, when. A, although, and then wabub, while, after, before, until, and because. And here is a wabub. Okay, so we could use these to help us with the subordinating conjunctions and help us to remember them. So, to use them. Now remember, they are the first words within a subordinate clause, subordinate phrase. Subordinate clauses, or phrases, do not make sense on their own. They are dependent. They need something to help them be there. They're not strong enough on their own. But when they are used with a main clause, they create a complex sentence. So subordinate clauses will always have a subject and verb within them before they left. Subordinating conjunction, the subject and the verb. It's a subordinate clause. Now, before the holidays is used as a preposition, and it is not a subordinate clause. Okay. So, can you spot the subordinate clauses and subordinating conjunction in this complex sentence? Juvenile penguins, it's like young penguins, are able to swim, although their feathers aren't yet waterproof. Where's a subordinate clause and where's a subordinating conjunction? Well, there's a subordinate clause, and the subordinating conjunction is indeed although. The Boy Scouts sang around the campfire until it was time for bed. Until it was time for bed is our subordinate clause, and the subordinating conjunction is until. Hakeem could win the talent contest if he improved his juggling skills. We've also got a modal verb in this sentence. Our subordinate clause is there, if he improved his juggling skills, and subordinating conjunction. Good. Notice they are always at the start of the subordinate phrase. Now, in the complex sentences we have looked at so far, the subordinate clause has always come after the main clause. But watch. What's happened there? Well, it's come at the start of the sentence. Okay, and when it comes at the start, remember to use that comma because this is a fronted adverbial. Again, can you swap these around? The Boy Scouts sang around the campfire until it was time for bed. Hakeem could win the talent contest if he improved his juggling skills. Can you swap them around? There we go. Until it was time for bed, comma. The Boy Scout sang around the campfire. If he improved his juggling skills, comma, Hakeem could win the talent contest. Now, let's look at creating complex sentences by using relative clauses. These are slightly different, and we'll go through that in a little bit more detail in a second. Now, relative clauses are a different type of dependent clause that give more detail about the subject of the main clause. Now, relative clauses begin with a relative pronoun or a relative adverb. And here are some of the most common examples. Who, which, whose, one, that, and where. Notice a lot of them begin with a WH. Okay. So, can you spot the relative clause in this complex sentence? Mysterious Malcolm, who's a children's entertainer, wows his audience with his magic tricks. So there's our relative clause. Okay, who started, and of course it's describing Mysterious Malcolm in more detail. Remember, this is a type of embedded clause, so we are going to need 2 commas, one before and one after the relative clause. The astronaut bounded towards a space buggy, which had been parked in a crater. Where's a relative clause here? It is indeed there. The relative pronoun is which, and what is it describing in more detail? Well, it is describing the space buggy in more detail. Can you find the complex sentences in this text? So have a quick scan through that, and can you find the complex sentences in here? The sun was beginning to disappear behind the nearby mountain. Philip's heart sank as he knew he was lost. The group of climbers, who Philip had started out with, were nowhere to be seen. Philip shouted for help, but it was hopeless. While there was still a little light, Philip tried to make himself a bed using leaves and twigs. The temperature, which was now close to 0 degrees, could be extremely hazardous. If he couldn't find a way to keep warm, he would be in serious danger. It was going to be a long night. There are all the complex sentences. Okay? So you can see how many have been used now. Notice it's not every single sentence, otherwise it becomes very tedious, very hard to read. So I have got a mixture of some simple sentences in there as well. Now then, why are these sentences not complex? The sun was beginning to disappear behind the nearby mountain. Why is that not a complex sentence? Well, this is a main clause, or a simple sentence. It's been extended by using a prepositional phrase, behind the nearby mountain, but that doesn't make it a complex sentence. It's just added a prepositional phrase. Philip shouted for help, but it was hopeless. Well, this is a different type of multi-clause sentence. This is a compound sentence. It has 2 main clauses, Philip shouted for help, and it was hopeless, and it has been joined by a coordinating conjunction. Remember, that joins 2 sentences together. Okay, so this is a compound sentence, because compound is 2. Okay, it's joined something together. So this is not a complex sentence, it's a compound sentence. It was going to be a long night. Again, this is just a main clause, a simple sentence. It's still a good idea to include some of these in your writing for effect. Now it is your turn. Okay, you are going to go and have a go at completing the sheets that I have sent to your parents. They're also available on Google Drive as always. If you need any help, of course, send me a message and I will phone you back to help you. Otherwise, I will speak to you in our English session this morning, where we'll go through this in a little bit more detail. Thank you very much, Year 6.